Let's get settled down. Sorry, we're 5 minutes late. Some technical difficulties, but we also have people joining in, so it's pretty good. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all here for the December's monthly meeting. And we also have one exciting news before I introduce Michael over here. The Architectural Engineering Institute chapter was just formed here in the Dallas, and we're very proud to say that the Dallas branch actually opened before the Texas section has even finalized the registration. So today is the first session from Architectural Engineering Institute, and we've got Michael Lloyd, who is also an architect, presenting on one of the DFW Terminal F section. And we're very excited to have him. Let me give a quick introduction about Michael. Michael has more than 36 years of architectural experience, including over 30 years with PGAL, where he has served as the principal since 2004, leading multidisciplinary project teams. His expertise spans a wide range of project types, including aviation, municipal justice, public safety, and higher education facilities. A recognized technical leader, Michael is known for his strength in specification development, system coordination, code compliance, and quality control. As principal and quality assurance lead, Michael ensures technical excellence and document accuracy through every phase of design and construction. He's highly experienced in construction manager at risk and design build delivery methods, and has successfully implemented fast track and phase construction strategies on large, complex projects. Client, contractors, and consultants consistently note his proactive leadership, clear communication, and hands-on management style. Michael holds a bachelor's of environmental design from Texas A&M and is a registered architect and interior designer in Texas, as well as a lead accredited professional. So everybody, let's give a round of applause to welcome Michael and thank him for his presentation.
All right, thank you very much. Before I get started, I got some team members from the project here. PGAL Aerials walking in, Marie and Julie are project team members, but engineers, we have Garver, PMA, and Rogers D. Simone. If you want to raise your hands, you can check my math, but I've got some math in here. I know your audience, right? So there's some math here for you all. Okay, so we are the architectural record for DFW Terminal F. Very complex, ever-changing project. But talking about prefabrication, I wanted to start with how it all started, which was really DFW put an RFQ out, and they put in the RFQ, they didn't say, give me a bunch of prefabricated modules. They said, come to us with innovation. We said, oh heck, what do we do with that? This is going back to the high C gates. So working with our design build partners, Archer Western, at the time of High C Gates and Phyllis May and H.J. Russell, we came up with a prefabricated construction, which is, it's used a lot. Archer Western, Walsh uses it a lot in heavy construction and civil and bridges. And we're the first to bring it to airports. So when we first started thinking about modular construction, we started to break it down as to how can we do this project? How can we prefab certain elements? And there were certain site constraints we had to deal with, which I'll talk about in a second. But really the key to having modular construction helps you get speed to market. And especially in the aviation, they want to get the gates open as early as possible. So while we're building in the fab yard, we're doing site work. So that schedule crunch is really a benefit to the airport. There's less general conditions and fees from the owner, what they're paying for. So it really crunches the time schedule down. So we released early steel packages. We did some early site plan, make ready and demolition drawings. So that's really the key to some of the benefits of prefab. There's a lot more possibilities in prefabrication. We can prefabricate electrical rooms and telecom rooms that we've looked into. So I think this is going to be an evolving industry. Other airports are copying this. So it's going to evolve from job to job. Oops. So quickly, and I'm going to go back a little bit on High C Gates. It was kind of, the size was done by necessity of dimensions. So we were constrained by the Skylink. We were constrained by the Skylink, which you can see the curve on the top, and then the site on the edge. It was 5 gates and 6 modules, and about $90 million of core shell and 30 of fit out. So when we were designing this, we had to make sure the Skylink wasn't moving, right? So we have constraints in the X direction of moving through columns, then constraints in the Y direction of going underneath the Skylink bridge. So as we're moving it, you see this, oh, I get this, the guy in the bucket truck checking it. We measured it about 1,000 times, but we were nervous the very first day when we were moving the first module, is it going to fit? And when we're standing there, when the module's 50 feet away, we're thinking, oh crap, that's going to hit. But we designed it for 12 inches of clear, and that's what we did. This modular construction uses hydraulic lifting for the modular. The movers are SPMTs, self-propelled modular transport units. Mammut is the company that we've been using here. There's other companies out. Here you see we didn't put the full length of the columns on because we had to get underneath the bridge. So we got it under, spun it 90 degrees, and then the first ever, we lifted it up. There was hydraulic jacks in the SPMTs, which was the first time they used it. So that was pretty exciting. So we lifted it up, and then we had to jack it up 9-10 feet. The columns are already there, 3/4 size columns. Then we drove through the columns and put it down on the columns that were already there. So that's kind of a baseline. So now we're at Terminal F. Much bigger project. Some of you drive by, you can see it. You can even see it from the construction yard. Initially, it's going to be 15 gates. It's about 400,000 square feet. And we're doing 6 modules here, but much bigger. I'll show you here in a little bit. The first phase is 830 million. So this project has evolved. When we first were hired, October 23rd, 2023, it was going to be domestic gates for all airlines other than American. So we go on our way. We're designing for all the domestic carriers. And we had a Skylink station here. The Skylink tracks are here. So this was our first contract in the Skylink station there. This is the concourse level, the initial gate layout, and actually had planned for a tunnel. Some baggage and goods and services were going to come through the tunnel and serve the building to our basement. Our concourse plan, we're gonna, when American comes into the play here in a little bit, you'll see that this end changes. So when we're thinking through modular construction, you have to plan ahead. It's just not just, well, the trucks show up, let's move it. You think early on, and our engineers, both sides, we have to have a good base. You have to have a good A to B from the fab yard to the site. So there's a lot of logistics that go in to doing this construction. We do overlays of this is our ramp, our ground level plan, making sure our pathway, the red lines are the pathways for the STMP trailers. There's 4 trailers. So we think through it. And those are the modules 1 through 6. And so there's a lot of planning and engineering and back checking all the way through this. So this is a good combination drawing our structural engineers and civil engineers worked on together to help us think through this. Think about where the proper place to load the SPMTs is on the grid of the structure. But then we have to get from A to B. Zach here helped us figure out a good path, because when our trailers are so large, they're 275 feet, We're not doing hydraulic lifting. We're doing basically static lifting on the SPMTs, which is only able to go up about 24 inches with the wheels that jack up. So if you've ever driven a trailer, you go over a bump or a change of plane, your bottom can drag, right? I'm going into it. So the same thing is a worry on mod moves. So this was our path, looking through taxiway Alpha Bravo there to get into the site. Here it is here. The pavement wasn't quite ready. We had to build a temporary ramp to get about a 1% grade to get to our site that Zach did. So haul routes, loading points is all key stuff. Can't tell you all the secrets, but all right. So comparison, this is the good engineering slide for you guys. So the gray box here is high C module. I mentioned it's 85 feet square. And on Termalef, our biggest one was 140 by 245. So basically like a football field we're moving. So if you compare the size, 85, it's 430 tons. It's about 860 pounds. And then it had, if you remember, we had 3 runs of trailers. It was 168 tires. You do the math, it's about 5,000 pounds a tire, okay? Termalef, much bigger, 140 by 245, 2,600 tons, 5,200 pounds. We had 1,024 tires on the trailers. We had 4 runs of tires. And per tire, it's actually came out less per tire. Some other fun facts, an CRJ 200 is about 88 feet, which is about the size of high C. And even an Airbus A321 is the short direction of Termalef. So there was a lot of worry. Is this, we have to prove the math. Eddie, where's Eddie? There he is. Eddie had to prove the math. Is this load going to crack the pavement when we drive over it? And Eddie's math said, no, don't worry about it. It's nothing. You look at what an Airbus A380, a fully loaded A380 is 70 to 95,000 pounds, right? 75 to 90,000 pounds per tire. So we're well under it. And that's just rolling load. That's not going on the runway load. So you think of all the tires are there for a reason to balance out the load. So here's our new current plan. As I mentioned, you probably saw the news. American Airlines made a big deal with the airport, and they're into the project, and they have every single gate at Termalef. But we've also added international. It was domestic only. Now we have international. So if you ever fly international, you go through FIS, you go through Customs, Border Patrol. So now we incorporated some of those elements, or all those elements, into the project. And there's 5 gates right here in the first phase that are group 5, which are wide body 2 aisle. The first phase was only going to be group 3, which is single aisle, your 737 type aircraft. So we actually altered this last module we installed, and the bump outs here are adding capacity for seating and serving these group 5 aircraft. And then there'll be connectivity to the FIS for the future phases, which is going to be down here. So the first 15 gates go to here, and then the phase 1A will build out, and there'll be gates here in the middle. So, so here's the first site plan. I'm going to animate it. Now that was the original scope and the footprint. And now the current scope. Oh, here it is. So phase 1A comes in, and there's really kind of 2 phases of 1A. Then there's this part here, which will connect to the D stinger. And then the garage will be in between our national parkways, the north-south direction. And that will feed as the processor. So when you check in, you'll go to the garage, you'll feed the building that way. But day one, the initial customer drop-off point is via Skylink. So you go to other terminals and come to Skylink to get to the terminal. And that Skylink station is now here. So it'll be open opening day and then have connectivity for the phase 1A. Some other kind of fun facts is larger fabrication of the modules, the 245.140, having a good structural grid system, having that modular. We have a 5 feet smaller grid that goes to a 35 other larger grid. Repeating is really key to having a repeating of detailing. Other things we did, the modules will drive over some mat slabs. At one point, we had a mat base. There's going to be a high bay area, which is going to have monumental glass. You see it here. This is pictures from last week. It's 32 feet tall glass. It's 5 layers thick. It's curved. It's being made near Munich, and it weighs a lot. Where's Ryan? How much does it weigh? A lot. It's going to be okay though. But it's a big key feature of the project where a lot of the concession areas will be. So here's some of our renderings in the way. So this is from the southwest looking northeast. And you can see the double height here, get down to an FIS level, which will then connect to the 1A. These are the Group 5 aircraft. Okay, that's a good question. And that should be a presentation for another engineer in about, well, it could be next week if you want it. It's not part of our scope, but Jacobs is designing a phase that will take out 2 rows of columns, then build a super truss of some description to hold up the Skylink structure so that the next phase, the Group 3 aircraft can drive underneath the Skylink. And that's showing that I think it's going to be, we didn't show what the structure looks like because I don't know. But it is being designed by Jacobs. Are there any Jacobs guys in here? Here we go. Are you designing that? Okay, well, I think you just signed up for the next presentation. Told. But yeah, it's going to be 2 different directions for Group 3, not the Group 5, but it should be interesting. Good observation. Here's one of our gatehouses. We were using glass boarding bridges. More views. Okay, so here's one of the modules. I don't remember which one it is. Being moved from the fab yard to the site. You can see the 4 rows. There's 1, 2, 3 behind that truck, and 4 of the mammoth trailers. Here's another view, and you can see how the tires are wheeled up there. They're stroked up, and you'll see a second here, a column go into go right there. All right, so it's all been laid out. It's ready, and they very slowly move it down to the base plates. Showing a secret here. It's good not to have trying to get an anchor bolt to hit a hole. It's too much brain damage. It's going to sit on the base and weld it. Here's another view. You can see the trailers pretty well, all the tires. Here's some of our design team. And Eddie from PMA, I think that's your back of your head, Eddie. Okay, this is a video. And this is, we'll conclude the presentation. So it's actually driving over a structural basement. So it's concrete cast in place basement. We did back shore it just for the rolling loads. Did it go? Okay. Yeah, I kept the video kind of short, but you can see how it's going there. All right, so I think I'm on time for some questions if you have any.
Presentation. We have time to take questions. And once they ask a question, Michael, you have to repeat it for the future.
Okay.
Questions?
Okay, so the question is, if you have a connecting flight, how are you going to navigate through the Skylink to get to your flight, right? Yeah, DFW is working that out. I think there's going to have to be a lot of communication between the airlines and the passengers, because day one, you won't be able to pull up to the curb of Terminal F. Your ticket will say Terminal F, gate 16, but you'll have to check in at E or any other gate. So there will have to be some communication in that way. But once you check in, then you're on the secure side, and you can go through the Skylink to all the terminals and go back and forth to your gate. The construction time frame?
How long are they not just Skylink?
Oh, you mean the next phase? Okay. All right. So the first phase is phase one. It's going to open up in the summer of 27. And then the next phase 1A, which is too long to scroll through, is due to open another year after that. And then the darker blue 1A is still being determined by the airport, but maybe a little bit after that next phase. So probably 2 years, I would say, 1.5 to 2 years for the garage has to get opened up as well. So you'll enter through the garage instead of curbside. It'll be a processor garage. No. So that RFQ for the garage goes out in the first quarter of 26. Underneath it, yeah. when it's built out?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a lot of the called the ramp areas. The ramp is on the grade. So that's all service and support. So American Airlines will have service and support areas. ETAM will operate the airport, have their offices.
Okay, so it's going to be multi-use.
Yeah, as well as the FIS connector. You'll go downstairs to connect to phase 1A. And there'll be baggage down there as well. So a lot of stuff.
Was any attempt made at all to make this architecturally look like the rest of the airport?
Well, I think in a lot of ways it does. The metal panels match high sea gates. The glazing matches high sea gates. But the older terminals, the airport's looking for a more sleek design.
Yeah.
and maybe try and get a little bit better than 1990 or.
The reason I was asking is I know he was around the architecture, and it looks like this is a.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities in the silver metal panel tones that High C has. Terminal D has some of those tones that we have. Terminal D is a much taller terminal overall, but architecturally, we're also looking for efficiency as well. So, you had a question? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Any kind of development to this terminal? I'm asking because of some buildings after more.
Scope toward development. Well, I don't really have an answer to that question. There was hard. Yeah, there's hard. Yeah, planning. DFW planning has a big role in how the set out. There was bridging documents that help outline the scope. Of course, that evolves as criteria changes. But there was hard edge limits. We have to connect to D, and then the terminal road is a hard edge, and then the taxiways are the other edges.
I actually had D and E mixed up when I was
Oh.
talking a minute ago.
Okay.
Yeah, D is the newer one.
Yeah, I think I knew it.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, how much of the MEP work were you able to do at a time?
Question was how much MEP work do we do ahead of time? It changed. There are electrical and conduits and mechanical piping put in the modules before it's moved. We plan to do a lot more, but with American coming in, changing the design, the design had to take a back step a little bit to redesign some things. So the amount of elements we got prefabricated from the fab yard to the site is less than we initially planned on. We were hoping to almost go as finished as we could, but keeping up with Americans' new criteria, the design had to change. But we're keeping the opening date the same, so no worries, no stress. Was there another question? Well, the building is using dynamic glazing, which is prior company was Sage Glass. Now it's View Glass was a company that's been out here. Now Sage Glass, but it responds to their sensors and it darkens as the atmospheric conditions get brighter. So one side of the building, the glass will darken up, the other from east to west. Yeah. But it meets energy code. We checked. Any other questions? Oh, sorry, this gentleman. Major obstacles. I won't say any obstacles. I would say design challenge when your design program changes midstream. So like I said, all domestic before, now American. Domestic gates only, now mixture domestic and international. So that's certainly a challenge. And how do you keep construction going? Because our design build partners are our bosses. We are contracted to them. They want to keep building. So we've actually changed how we've delivered our drawing sets. There's been more packages there's certain things that didn't change. Let's get that going, keep it moving. Where it was going to be in a bigger package, well, we've called that out and got it out to the field, so things could be ordered. So I think meeting the deadline while the design changing has been the biggest, I won't call it an obstacle because we're going to meet the deadline, but I say it's certainly been the challenge and keeping our contractors moving.
So this was a PGAL model.
Yes, yeah, sorry if I didn't mention that. Yeah, this is a design build. The current JV is Archer Western. They also go by Walsh, the Archer Western. Archer Western is the non-union, Walsh is the union branch, same company. So Archer Western, Turner Construction, H.J. Russell, Phillips May, Carcon. I'm not forgetting anybody, right, Julie? Those are the major partners. And then we have the rest of the design team. We're the prime. We have Gensler, who's doing all the interior design, and GFT, which was Muller and Muller. They're designing the Skylink. Then we have MEPCE for MEP, Faith Group for IT technology, Syskentech for AV. Of course, I mentioned Garver and PMA and Rogers de Simone. I'm sure I'm forgetting. We've got the lighting practice for lighting consulting. Help me, team. Am I forgetting? Pardon me? Oh yeah, Square Peg for signage and wayfinding. They're doing a great job. CCI for fire protection and code consulting. Thanks, Zach. Yeah.
Stakeholder design companies. So what was the creation of design and when did they open the company?
Okay, the question was a lot of stakeholders, what's the duration of design and when's it going to open? So we are awarded the contract October 23rd, 2023. I've got a little champagne cork with it Sharpied on there on my desk, so I look at it every day. So design is still ongoing. We're trying to finish most of the architectural design packages by this spring, but a lot of the packages, the Garver PMA work, you're basically done picking up addendums. Rogers de Simone, they're basically done. We've got the extension where we're building out for the gatehouses, international gatehouses. Those are submitted and we're going through addendums. But what's left is the architectural fit out and the interior packages. We're at, depending on what package, we're between 95 and 100 on those. And then, so phase one is supposed to open the summer of 26. And then the 1A every year or so after.
So
26. Yeah, the first phase will be 26. No, 27, sorry, 27. Excuse me. We're not that fast. So that initial, I think we're going to turn over, the first phase is 15 gates. We're sorting through what are those 15 gates we can open. For sure, 10 gates, the first opening day, and then the 5 others that are on the international side will open a few months after that.
Seems like pretty monumental effort. I mean, you know, in the prefabrication and modular design. Has this been done to this magnitude other places, or is this the largest one?
So High C was the first modular terminal design. So at the airport, A and C is also doing modular. They're not the size of ours. Yeah, Anchorage, and then there's been, they've moved a bridge at one terminal for where it was. But as I was saying before, Walsh Construction, Archer Western, they do a lot of that with bridges. So there's major highway needs to get opened up. They'll build a bridge on the side, get it all done, and they'll slide it over so it minimizes road closure times. But to give you a scale, High C, the 6, I think it was the bottom part of my slide if I said or not, but the 6 modules of High C equal the weight of one of our biggest terminal app. So we really have upped our game. I was waiting for an engineer question about how big can you go with a module? How big can you go? You can, yeah, it's more tires. You gotta pay for the Mammut guys. What we did was we took it out to a dimension that we felt comfortable with, that would be an expansion joint dimension. So if you, in construction, 200, 250, that's a good, you wouldn't want to go 350, 400 without an expansion joint. Now, can you move 2 modules at once with an expansion joint in the middle? Yeah, but maybe you're getting silly big, that big. Yeah, the taxiway, then if you do a static load, which is just dead on the trailers, if you do hydraulic, you can lift it up, then you can go over any grades you want. But the hydraulics are a lot more expensive than the static dead load lifts. Make them good. Eddie, give me a question. Biggest wow factor, I think it's going to be the high bay, the monumental glass, the curved glass that Maria designed right here. That's 5 layers thick. It's going to be beautiful. I should have said the paving, shouldn't I? All right.
That's about it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Big round of applause. So, we have a token of appreciation
Oh,
to Michael from
thank you.
the AEI and AAC.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your presentation and your time.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
One quick announcement. Since we mentioned that AEI Dallas branch, we just launched it. So we definitely need a lot of help from all the stakeholders, a lot of people in the AEI community down here. So if anybody's interested in joining or helping out, please feel free to reach out to me or Smita here or Yonte, and then we can get started. Thank you all for being here.